Hey guys, what's up? He is Threatening here, and we are here with a Bound by Flame review for the Xbox 360. Now, this game was released on the 9th of May, and I've been playing it since then, and it is a pretty good game. This review will be 5-part, encompassing story, graphics, gameplay, music, and some of the problems in the game. Now, let's get straight into the review. Now, story-wise, Bound by Flame is pretty well told. If you've read or seen any common fantasy movies, you'll probably know the gist. There's an undead army led on by the evil 7 Ice Lords who want to wipe out all of humanity. And they're doing so by launching into an invasion of the world, pretty much, with their army of dead walkers. Of course, semi-invincible undead army of very strong soldiers who will destroy you if you're unprepared. Now, the story takes an interesting turn when you get possessed by a flame demon and tasked with destroying all 7 Ice Lords. Now, the game is pretty good in the story regard. It's better told than most other games of its time, and it's strong in all the areas that you would expect it to be strong. I mean, this is 2014 we're talking about. You could get away with a bad story in times like 2010 and 2011, but not now, and I'm glad Spider Studios took that into account when making Bound by Flame. They did a pretty good job of the story and the graphics and gameplay. Now, graphically, the game is pretty good on the 360. I mean, it's definitely not the best it can look, but it looks better than most other games. Its graphics could be a little better in some areas, as I said. There's some lousy texture in some areas, but not much at all. I only experienced 1 frame rate drop and 1 tiny bit of texture pop in just recently on my playthrough. There have been some objects clipping other objects and ice spells and stuff going through walls, but I believe that can be fixed in future patches. Now, when you get possessed by the Flame Demon, you're given the choice of following his skill line, the Pyromancer, which gives you tons of cool flaming abilities at the cost of your own humanity, and you will eventually transform into the Flame Demon if you're not careful. Now, this is a pretty good and well thought out system, as it actually shows your dynamic choices on your own person. I think it's pretty good. It's a very nice system here, because it shows the awesomeness that the game has to go to. You can be a badass demon. Either way, you're going to be a badass, which is what I love. There is no, I'm just not a badass system. You always are. Now, the crafting system in the game is probably the most genius part of it all, and it goes hand in hand with the game's very strong and fluent gameplay. The gameplay is very nice in combat, and if you block right, hit hard enough, and perform very well, the game will actually slow down so you can see how awesome you look. Now, otherwise, in the music section, the game is pretty good. It knows that you're going to be mostly focusing on combat, and so it doesn't go too well into music that will distract you from combat. It in fact goes into music that just intensifies the moment, and increases your overall adrenaline rushes when you dodge powerful attacks. You can dodge or push enemies back, smash their defenses, or focus on your own. Now, my only real problems with the game is the inability to tank at lower levels. Now, my favorite style of playing is, in fact, tanking with a 2-handed greatsword, and bringing the pain to the enemies, and gaining all their stuff when I'm done killing them. Now, aside from the fact that you can't actually tank at lower levels because the sheer amount of damage that enemies do to you is pretty substantial, and you won't be able to tank very well. But at later levels, it is possible, and it's done pretty well. My only other issue is that actually priest, healers, and rogues can actually tank better than you can at the beginning of the game in your companions menu because they're higher level. Which is okay, you get to become very powerful, and the game does try to make you succumb to the demon's powers, showing you the temptation of the strength that it offers. So it's pretty well thought out in that regard. Bound by Flame is definitely one of my favorite games of 2014. The demon is a nice comical character, and he helps tell the story really well. He's just pretty good, and I really enjoy it. There's a lot of challenge in the combat. It's not as visceral as I would have thought, which is actually a nice change. I mean, I don't want to see arms being chopped off all the time. It doesn't take you away from the experience of the game, which is a very good and fun one. Bound by Flame is awesome. It's my favorite game of 2014 so far. And as an overall, I'll give it a gold seal of approval. It has gotta be one of my favorite games of 2014 and one of my favorite games of all time. It's just so much fun, and it just resonates with me as my actual perfect game, almost. It's just really, really good, and I recommend anyone to get it. To show my love for the series, and to hope that this game becomes a growing franchise, I will do a wrap of Bound by Flame. I'm about halfway through that right now, and I'm also considering doing a Lore of Atil series, just to help you guys enjoy the game more. So don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.